right, first and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto the Most High God, Yahweh. I do so in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh, who the world calls Christ. It's your brother H.O.I, H-O-I-G-A, back at you with another quick chop, letting you know what's going on today in captivity. All right, and real quick, I just want to go over this folly day they call Thanksgiving, or what we like to call in the Israelite community, Thanksgiving or Thanksgiving. All right, and this is mainly for the new brothers that's coming into this truth, new sisters coming into this truth, not fully grounded, still shaky, still got 1 foot in and 1 foot out. All right, so this is an article from the New York Times, and it's titled "Everything You Learned About Thanksgiving is Wrong," which we already know, but we're going to read a little bit about this article. Okay. All right. Thanksgiving facts and Thanksgiving myths have blended together for years like so much gravy and mashed potatoes, and separating them is just as complicated. So the myths about this whole Thanksgiving or Thanksgiving folly day has been so blended in that it's hard to tell what's real and what's not real. All right. Blame school textbooks with details often so abridged, softened, or out of context that they are ultimately made false. All right. High school textbooks are particularly bad about stating absolutes because these materials teach history by giving students facts to memorize, even when the details may be unclear. So their version of history is just stating random facts, having you memorize them just so you can achieve that certificate. So that's what this is based off of. It's not real history, it's his history. All right. All right. Reading on. The timeline is relative. So right here is letting you know that the timeline of this folly day is relative based off of who's telling it. All right. So the Mayflower did bring the Pilgrims to North America from Plymouth, England in 1620, and they disembarked at what is now Plymouth, Massachusetts, where they set up a colony. In 1621, they celebrated a successful harvest with a 3-day gathering that was attended by members of the Wampanoag tribe. It's from this that we derive Thanksgiving as we know it. So this is what they tell you that where Thanksgiving came from. You had one tribe, and you had the colonists. They came together, they broke bread, they feasted. Everybody was good. Happy Thanksgiving. This is what they tell you. All right. But it wasn't until 1830s, which is about 200 years later, that this event was called the first Thanksgiving by New Englanders, who looked back and thought it resembled their version of the holiday. So right there is telling you whose version it is. The New Englanders, who at that time was a small remnant of people. And what they did was tell their version of the holiday. All right. The holiday wasn't made official until 1863, when President Abraham Lincoln declared it as a kind of thank you for the Civil War victories in Vicksburg, Mississippi, and Gettysburg, PA. So just like all of Esau's folly days, they're always based around the rape, robbing, and murder of another nation or people. This is no different. All right. A prevalent opposing viewpoint is that the first Thanksgiving stemmed from the massacre of the Pequot people in 1637. So a prevalent opposing viewpoint, or a widespread, or the consensus, is that the first Thanksgiving stemmed from the massacre of the Pequot people in 1637, a culmination of the Pequot War. So it's no surprise that another folly day has appeared with ties to rape, robbing, and the murder of the Native Americans. All right. So let's read a little bit about the Pequot people real quick. All right. And this is Wikipedia. You can Google this information. You can look this up. The information is relatively similar wherever you read it. These are the sources. All right. So we're just going to read a little bit of it briefly. The Mystic Massacre took place on May 26, 1637, during the Pequot War, when Connecticut colonists under Captain John Mason and their Narragansett and Mohegan allies set fire to the Pequot fort near the Mystic River. They shot anyone who tried to escape the wooden palisade fortress and killed most of the village in retaliation for previous Pequot attacks. The only Pequot survivors were warriors who had been with their Sachem in a raiding party outside the village. Their Sachem is just a chief, just a native way of saying chief. All right. Let's give a little bit of background. The Pequots were the dominant Indian tribe in the southeastern portion of Connecticut colony, and they had long competed with the neighboring Mohegan and Narragansett tribes. So the Pequots were the dominant tribe in this particular area that consisted of 3 other tribes, but ultimately all 3 of these tribes was an umbrella under the Wampanoag tribe, which consisted of various different many tribes. All right. So the English and Dutch colonists established trade with all 3 tribes, exchanging European goods for wampum, which is Indian jewelry, or beads and shells, things of that nature, and furs. The Pequots eventually allied with the Dutch colonists, while the Mohegans and others allied with the English colonists. So just like Esau likes to do, he likes to get in an area and he likes to divide and conquer and set these people against themselves. That's what he does. A trader named John Odom was murdered and his trading ship looted by Pequots, and retaliation raids ensued by colonists and their Indian allies. The Pequots responded in kind, erupting into the Pequot War. According to Catherine Grandjean, the Great Colonial Hurricane of 1635 damaged the corn and other crops harvest of that year, making food supplies scarce and creating competition for winter supplies. So now they're in competition because all the food supplies were destroyed. This in turn increased the tensions between the Pequots and colonists, who were ill prepared to face period. So what happened, you had the English colonists and you had the Dutch colonists. So 2 of the tribes sided with one side of Esau, while the other one sided against the other side of Esau. Ultimately, Esau divided us and conquered them. All right. So they went to war. All right. So let's read about the aftermath after that war. Estimates of Pequot deaths range from 400 to 700, including women, children, and the elderly. The Narragansetts, which is their brother or sister tribe under the same umbrella, went to war with their brethren and were shocked and returned home in disgust. They felt that bad at what they did to their brethren, the Pequot people, or the Pequot tribe. The massacre effectively broke the Pequots in Sassacus, and many of his followers were surrounded in a swamp near a Mattabesset village called Sasqua. The battle which followed is known as the Fairfield Swamp Fight, in which nearly 180 warriors were killed, wounded, or captured. Sassacus, which was the chief of the Pequots, escaped with about 80 of his men, but he was killed by the Mohawks, who sent his scalp to the colonists as a symbol of friendship. So what did the Mohawks do? The Mohawks do, they cooned for the master. That's exactly what happened. And they traded on their brethren, killed them, and said, "Did I do good, boss?" The Pequot numbers were so diminished that they ceased to be a tribe in most sense. So they damn near exterminated their brother, one of the tribes of their brethren. The treaty mandated that the remaining Pequots were to be absorbed into the Mohegan and Narragansett tribes, nor were they allowed to refer to themselves as Pequot. You see that? They weren't even allowed to call themselves by their tribal name. All right. Some 500 to 1,000, and scholars differ on this number, which is understandable, but some 500,000 scholars differ. Women and children were shipped into slavery in Bermuda and Barbados. Some 500 were taken to Barbados on the Seaflower slave ship captained by John Gallup, the mostly plied African slave trade. You see that? So they were also shipped into slavery too. You see what I'm saying? So ultimately, Thanksgiving is about the rape, robbery, and murder of another nation. All right. So back to this article right here. It wasn't just about religious freedom. It's been taught that the Pilgrims came because they were seeking religious freedom, but that's not entirely true, says Mr. Lohan said. The Pilgrims had religious freedom in Holland, so they was already religiously free, where they first arrived in the early 17th century. Like those who settled Jamestown, VA in 1607, the Pilgrims came to North America to make money. They wanted to come here, separate from being heavily taxed over there in Europe. They wanted to set up their own shop, and how they do it by exterminating one people and taking another people into slavery, just like Esau does. This is nothing new. All right. So this is just a quick reference onto what Thanksgiving or Thanksgiving is really about. You see what I mean? So let me get a couple scriptures on that if I could. I'm gonna start with Sirach. I'm gonna go into Sirach, and this is a classic. I'm bringing nothing but classics today. All right. Sirach 12:10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness. We already know that. You see what I'm saying? We already know that this devil, he talks about reparations even today. He talks about reparations, never going to come through with him. How many treaties has he made it with the Native Americans? I think it was somewhere around 700. Broke every last one of them. Verse 11. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hadst wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away. So the same devil then is the same exact devil now. Let's get another one. We're going to go to Psalms 58, another classic. 58:3. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. So this whole folly day, Thanksgiving is a lie. It was based off of the rape, robbery, murder of the Native Americans. There's no real evidence that there was even a feast with the colonists. So there's no evidence that the colonists or the natives even sat down together. You already know turkey wasn't on the menu. You see what I mean? Cornbread wasn't on the menu. They didn't have an oven to bake cornbread in. You see what I'm saying? Let's get another one. Let's go to Psalms 55. That's another classic. Psalm 55:20. He hath put forth his hands against such as to be at peace with him. We're making these treaties. You see what I'm saying? We're going to make all these treaties with the native people. We're going to live together. We're going to coexist. We're going to share the crops. But what does he do? He hath broken his covenant. He broke every last one of them, damn near exterminating the Native Americans. Verse 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter. We're all one people. We're just here to get along with each other. We just want to live. You see what I'm saying? But war was in his heart. He already knew he wanted to go to war. That's why he divided and conquered those 3 tribes, so that he can have that area unto himself. If you know a little bit about Squanto was taken into captivity, I think around in the early 1600s, over into Europe, and he managed to get away. He sailed back to the Americas in around 1619, 1620, something like that, came home and found his tribe completely exterminated. They all died from, some say various diseases, but it was smallpox. You see what I'm saying? The consensus says it was smallpox. You see what I mean? So this is what this devil do. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war is in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. Oh, it's okay, man. You're my brother. You know what I mean? We gonna. If you don't vote for me, you're not black. You see what I mean? But what is he trying to do? Give you vaccines to exterminate you. You see what I'm saying? He's gonna bring back abortions, undo everything that was previously done in regards of banning abortions. He's gonna undo all that so you can continue to kill yourself. You see what I mean? Let's get one more. We're gonna go to let's get another class. We're gonna get that Deuteronomy 28, and we're gonna read verse 50. I think that's what I want. So like it. Deuteronomy 28 and verse 50. A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. We just read that the so-called white man, or the colonists, the English and the Dutch, exterminated that tribe. Didn't regard the young, the women, or the old. You see what I mean? They didn't care. Anybody that comes running out of that fort, you kill them. And that's what they did. You see what I'm saying? So one last one, and I'm gonna close out. We're gonna get let's do Nahum. We're gonna do 3 and 1. Woe to the bloody city! It is full of lies and robbery. The prey departeth not. You see what I'm saying? So this city is full of blood and iniquity, man, and it's full of lies and robbery. Thanksgiving is another lie. It's no exception. You see what I'm saying? They telling you it's about family coming together and being thankful. Well, us as blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans have nothing to be thankful for. This holiday was an extermination of you, and that's what the so-called white man is celebrating right now. You see what I'm saying? And it's robbery because they're promoting turkey when nobody was really eating turkey back in those days. You see what I'm saying? That's just another ploy to sell turkeys. You see what I'm saying? Just like they say milk is a body good, milk actually does harm to the body. You see what I'm saying? They only said that just to make money. The same way they say an apple a day keeps the doctor away. An apple a day will get you to the doctor faster. You see what I'm saying? It's just another lie and another ploy to rob you. All right? And with that, I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory unto the Most High God, Yahweh. I do so in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. It's your brother, H.O.I, and Shalom.